365, good morning. This is just a quick short introduction to a video you're about to watch, very short. But I thought I'd give you guys context. You're looking at the public Telegram free group where we drop analysis, do a little bit of education, follow up on the trading signals, etc. So it's actually extremely wise, to be a part of this group completely for free. Right. So this conversation started yesterday in the public Telegram group. I was just basically talking about the CPI data. Right now that the CPI data is out, we wanted to quickly find out, well, what does this mean, right? Because, technically speaking, we've been bearish all year. We've kind of like been following the data, and the data has indicated that inflation has been terrible and will continue to be terrible for a very long time. And so, CPI came, a very cold year over year, lower than expected, month over month, lower than expected. Even core CPI was lower than expected, right? So I told the group what to do with what I was doing. I was closing all my, swing cells that I'd opened, right? And we're going to follow the data. But then we decided, look, before we, call it a day last night and today in the morning, I was going to kind of like break down the dollar, the DXY chart. The dollar chart is a very, very, very important chart to look out for long-term investments, long-term swing trades, but also short-term day-to-day trading, right? All your gold, your euro, your pound, all your risk on and risk off assets react to the strength or the weakness of the dollar. So I broke this stuff down. I can't cover it in this particular video, shared charts on different time frames so that people can actually understand how to read charts on a short-term, long-term basis, right? So, and then it continued into this conversation that you're about to watch right now, which was basically, how does the dollar actually react to long-term political change, right? The changing of the guard, the pull between the Democrats and the Republicans, because that stuff actually matters. And if you've been following my videos, no, terribly carefully, you will know that there are many times where I've said this to you guys, that Powell eventually is going to fall prey to political pressure. I've been saying this for about three weeks now, before the midterm elections, and we are, just got done with midterm elections in America anyways. And so we broke down the dollar, and now I want you guys to quickly watch this very short video right there that I'm about to play after my introduction, which then breaks down the history between the dollar from 1969 all the way to today, the 11th of November 2002. And you tell me if you think markets are not correlated, if you tell me if you still believe markets are random, if you tell me if you don't think markets are coordinated, aka manipulated, but also see for yourself that through supply and demand, we generally can read these markets very clearly, and there are ways to keep a consistent profitable portfolio, be it you're a trader or an investor. 365, I hope you enjoy the video. Peace. Yo, 365, hope you guys are doing well. Just a very short video. It's very important when someone is teaching you something that you can back test it, or force them to back test it for you so you can see it for yourself. And I just always encourage you guys, no matter what I say, go back to the markets and let the markets teach it for you. It's important for your psychology. It creates confidence, right? So what I was saying in the public Telegram group earlier on, no, wrong tab. I was playing chess there, sorry, was that, historically speaking, when you look at how American politics works, right? And I'm not going to complicate the stuff, and I want to keep this video under 3 minutes. Is that if you just look at the markets and their relationship to who's in charge, a Democrat or Republican, we can make basic assumptions about the dollar, which allows us to make broader assumptions about the stock market. Now, none of this is trading advice. It's simply patterns. I love history. I love economic history. I love seeing how human beings think. And so what I did was I just simply typed on Google there, Democrats and Republican presidents, and then this long list came out because I wouldn't even know who the hell half these people were. I went to my favorite DXY chart to see, the one that had the longest history, and this chart starts printing candlesticks from 1967. So then I came back here and I was like, okay, fine, I can't analyze this other data, but from 1967 we can analyze. So we see. So from 1967 you can see, right there, right? All of a sudden there is a a Democrat, right, who's obviously been in power since 1961. Then I decided to draw these vertical lines. You see here red, red, blue in between. So red is obviously Republican, blue is Republican. Then I drew waves here with a paintbrush, right? It's almost as if I used an indicator. Now, this is just me. In fact, someone could create a party indicator, a long wave, moving average party indicator to predict a couple of things, including the next winners of the election. But I'm not going to get into that right now. But if 365 was into that stuff, we would do it. I don't care much for it. Right. So I thought I was going to do this video with the replay candlestick by candlestick, but it actually moves way too slow because it's a lot of data from like 1969. But you can see that, after this wave here, where we start somewhere here in 1968, we've got a Democrat, and the next wave, we've got Republicans up until 1977. So if I come here, you'll see 1977, there's a red line, right? Democrats come in. I just want to make sure you guys see that I did it, as accurately as possible. In the 1980s, 81, we got Ronald Reagan, Republican. That's actually where inflation was its most highest, and the Fed had to provoke the markets and raise the interest rate to 20%, right? So if you go to the 1980s, you can see right in the 1980s, strong dollar. Why? Interest rate hike. But look, also under the political power and control of Republicans, and my thesis and this point of the video is, in general, right? So my argument here is basically Republicans 9 out of 10 times will always leave a weaker dollar. Democrats 9 out of 10 times will try and focus on doing things that better the dollar or strengthen the dollar. And I'm using data in front of you from as long as 1969, right? So then after the Reagan era, you get the first Bush in 1989 to 1992. You'll see on my charts there from 1989 to 1992, right? You got the Bush. From 1993, you get someone else. In 1993, you got Bill Clinton, a Democrat, so I've already marked there in blue, right? And so forth and so forth. And up until 2009, where you get Barack Obama, which is, a Democrat, and then you get Mr. Trump. And then this is where we are right now, right? With prices slightly on the incline under a Democratic administration with Joe Biden. All right, so now let's look at this little lines I did with the paintbrush, and really, just easy to go. So once the vertical lines were in, marking the different Republican, blah, 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 I just drew these wave lines. And all I want us to do now is to kind of like look at the highs and lows. So just some very simple market structure reading, right? So at the top there is where the dollar is. Then I want this white now. Just want, so that we don't think this is all, So the white line is just me kind of like just marking out, tops and bottoms, right? Simple. So that's the top there where the dollar is, and Republicans take over. We've just gone through the data to know when Republicans take over, and somewhere here is the handover to Democrats. You can see the dollar starts off high here. Nope, don't want to use that. Right, the dollar starts off high here, but by the time Democrats take over, the dollar closes low. Again, not trading advice or investing advice. I'm just giving you market data, man. I love this stuff, right? And then when Democrats take over, the dollar falls all the way to somewhere here. And so we can actually talk about how this is an interesting anomaly to my theory, right? And we'll see, right? So we can mark this, I don't know, white, just to say, look, man, we're Democrats here, but unfortunately they couldn't pump the dollar high for whatever reason, right? And there was inflation, end of the golden age of capitalism, the 1970s. Margaret Thatcher in the UK was breaking things. Neoliberalism is introduced as a massive, global policy, so forth and so forth. Anyways, there's inflation in the 1980s, crazy inflation, worse than what we have right now, right? And, the dollar goes this high, all right? That's Republicans. But then before the Republican tenure ends, the dollar is literally brought down again to a melting pot, right? So technically speaking, this is a lower low, right? Despite this amazing dollar strength, right? It was just to kind of like fix the economy, interest rate hikes. But at some point in time, like what we've been saying throughout those videos, is that we keep raising interest rate hikes, you're going to break the economy, right? That lag that everyone keeps talking about, right? Monetary policy, will mess something up, right? So anyways, by the time the Republican tenure is over, the dollar is actually lower than where it started during the handover, right, from the Democrats. Okay, cool. And then all of a sudden we got Barack Obama. No, sorry, Clinton. Clinton is a Democrat, right? So the dollar again starts there with Clinton, and by the time Republicans take over, right, you can see that Clinton leaves the dollar. Shit, president. By the way, I have no affiliation with any political party. No political party in Africa, in America, in the United Kingdom represents remotely what I stand for. I think political parties are useless. I think governments are absolutely useless, right? So when I make my comments, I'm not saying one is better than the other. I'm not saying Democrats are good because they strengthen the dollar, right? They're absolute trash. Like all political governments, to me personally, absolutely trash, right? That is not how I think about the world. Anyway, so this is the Clinton era, right? In 1960, we have the dot-com bubble in the 2000s, right? And Republicans are in charge. I'm pretty sure in the 2000s, it's another Bush, right? Probably George Bush. I could be wrong. There we go. 2001, George Bush takes over, Republican, right? So gets the dollar up there in Bush style, right? Drops the dollar all the way down. And there are many advantages having a weak dollar and a strong dollar, depending on different economic conditions, right? And after Mr. Bush, we get token boy is Barack Obama. They get the dollar slightly there, all right? We have supply and demand forces at play, all right? And you can see by the time Obama is done with his tenure, the dollar is stronger once again. Every time we have Democrats, right, with literally just exception of once in history. But every time we have Democrats, generally speaking, the tendency is to leave the dollar better off than they found it, right? So then Donald Trump takes over from Obama here, right, on Obama's high in 2017 January, and in November 2020, I'm pretty sure Trump lost the elections due to COVID, and not to the fact that a lot of Americans think that Trump was a bad president, just based on the racist narrative that I don't want to get into right now. But anyways, there we go. Trump's tenure ends in November, right? And then Biden comes in, and then you can see already under Democrats, right? Biden is here. Now, if you look at where Obama left the torch and where Trump takes over, right? We've got a demand there, right? So this is what I was trying to say. Like, there are different ways to kind of like look at this thing, but if you look at it with the blue and red wave perspective, right? I get the sense that the dollar is not down. Long term, yeah, sure. Right. I get the sense that again, there's another premature market celebration. I understand inflation is now officially low, right? Because everyone wants to remove rent out of the conversation. That's why CPI is low. Everyone keeps moving rent out of the conversation. That's fine, but we shall see long term, right? In the meanwhile, while we're here anyways on this chart, right, this is a very important thing to kind of keep an eye on, right? Dollar, these blue lines actually now look like moving averages, right? And I don't use indicators, right? But remember, got dollar weakness, you cannot deny that. So you trade what you see. It's that simple. See supplies, we take supplies. And we do that to make money. I'm not trading. It's Friday today. I'm out of the market. I closed most of my sales when CPI came. The only thing I want to keep selling is crypto. I'm clear as day about that. And then you'll know what I want to do for the rest of the year. This coming Sunday in this traders war room, we'll be mapping out new trade ideas based on the market in front of us. 365. If this ends up on YouTube, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. If it doesn't, cool, or just post it on the group. Don't forget to register for courses. You literally are in a unique moment, right? Literally, the price is still until the end of the year. All right, number one. Number two, it's the end of the year, so you might actually have enough time, free time to actually learn something, right? Really invest in this period of time, to invest in yourself to actually make money and see if your life can turn around, right? If you follow my process, I never promise, sunshine and rainbows. What I can promise is I give you exactly everything that I use. I then give you guys extra value added content all the time. I give you the rules of how markets work. You need to learn how to be consistent. You need to learn how to be disciplined. You need to learn how to follow my plan. And you need to spend the first 2 months mastering my rules, perfectly well. And on a scale of probabilities, you will always average out profitably. It's that simple. Like, this really is. All right, 365. I hope this helps. But this is literally the history of the dollar in relationship to Republicans and Democrats, right? Very interesting stuff out there. You just think about markets, you come back test it, see it for yourself. 365, shake my hand, peace.